Picture your phone screen. You send a text. An hour passes. You send an explanation. Then an apology. You're trying to fix a fracture in a relationship, while the person on the other end reads your messages and chooses to offer nothing but absolute quiet. We are often encouraged to view this withdrawal as an innocent emotional reaction, a simple need for space by someone who is too overwhelmed or hurt to speak. However, the timing of the withdrawal suggests a different pattern. The silence frequently appears at the exact moment you assert a boundary or ask for accountability. By withholding communication, the silent party forces you to bargain against yourself. You fill the artificial void with your own concessions, effectively handing over your power without them having to say a word. This reaction is rooted in our biology. Psychologist Robert Cialdini identified that humans possess an intense, hardwired drive for tension resolution. This graph tracks the escalation of relational stress. When communication is severed, your baseline anxiety rockets past normal limits as your brain registers the ambiguity of the silence as a survival threat. To escape that state of alarm, your survival instincts take over. You will beg, over-explain, or shrink your own needs just to force a resolution and return the system to a state of calm. The perpetrator monitors this loop, initiating the quiet whenever you show signs of independence. They know the ensuing panic will likely erase your defiance. These frantic attempts to reconnect are the precise behavioral output this trap was engineered to generate. While the psychological leverage is effective, the physiological reality of what forced absence does to the brain is far more severe. Researchers at UCLA investigated the neuromechanics of social rejection by tracking the brain activity of subjects experiencing intentional isolation. The visual data shows that the neural pathways processing social exclusion are identical to those that process blunt physical trauma. Your body registers a refusal to speak to you as a physical assault. This conditioning happens in small increments. A sudden unfollow or a text thread that goes dark triggers a microdose of that pain response, subtly shaping your behavior to avoid future strikes. Sun Tzu noted that the most effective weapon is formless. The silent treatment allows for a strike that inflicts literal pain while leaving no marks or witnesses. The immediate sting of the silence is only the beginning. The long-term damage occurs as your core identity begins to reorganize around the threat. Over time, your primary goal shifts from authentic expression to threat avoidance. You begin to filter every opinion and suppress every boundary to ensure you never trigger the withdrawal again. The Milgram experiment demonstrated that human beings will routinely abandon their own limits if it means avoiding severe social punishment. This compliance loop is a staple of many American households. A spouse may refuse to make eye contact for days after a disagreement, or a parent might ignore an adult child's calls for weeks to force submission. Prolonged exposure systematically extracts your autonomy. Eventually, your choices are dictated entirely by the looming threat of someone else's absence. Neutralizing this tactic requires inverting the mechanics. Robert Greene writes that the person who controls the silence controls the relationship frame. Defense begins with the complete cessation of effort. You stop texting, and you refuse to apologize for things you did not do. This starves the behavior of the compliance it was designed to extract. The third step is exposure. When communication resumes, you explicitly state the facts. I noticed you went silent for the last 4 days. This removes the tactical invisibility. Next, you apply Machiavelli's principle that leverage belongs to the party who needs the negotiation less. By investing in your own goals and friendships, you source your stability internally. Their absence no longer threatens your foundation. Finally, you establish a clear consequence for future silences and enforce that consequence without exception. Executing this sequence strips away the perpetrator's leverage, rendering the psychological weapon ineffective. This system of control relies on the target prioritizing the relationship above their own psychological peace. This dependency was carefully conditioned into you, one silent treatment at a time, until your self-preservation became tied to their approval. You now see the camouflage, understand the neurological impact, and hold the sequence to disarm the behavior. This information forces a decision. You can no longer view these silences as mere miscommunications. You must actively apply these defenses to protect your boundaries. If you choose not to use this knowledge, someone else will continue using it to control you.